All right, let's kick things off with a thought that, well, it might just flip how you see your entire career. The greatest risk is not failing, it is standing still. We're all so scared of failing, right? But what if the real danger, the biggest risk of all, is just never moving?
So, that brings us to our story for today, the silent cost of safety. And yeah, on the surface, it's about two friends. But honestly, this is a lesson for any of us who've ever felt stuck, a little bit afraid, or just not quite ready to make that next move.
So let me ask you something, and be honest with yourself. Has there ever been a time when a real opportunity was right there in front of you? A new project, a promotion, heck, maybe just the chance to speak up in a meeting, and you just hesitated. You pulled back. You chose the familiar, safe route, because the other one felt way too risky. We've all been there.
Now, this whole story revolves around two friends, Tunde and Sadiq. But here's the thing. Try not to think of them as just characters. Think of them more like two different paths, two different mindsets that any of us could adopt. They show us two totally different ways of looking at life, at opportunities, and at fear itself.
And wow, when you put them side by side like this, the contrast is just so clear. Over here, you've got Tunde with the avoidant mindset. He's the guy who's always waiting to feel ready, a feeling that, let's be real, never actually shows up. He's terrified of the spotlight, and every risk just looks like a potential disaster. And then there's Sadiq, who's all about the growth mindset. He doesn't wait around. He acts in order to become ready. See that? For him, risk isn't a danger. It's a chance to learn something. It's really the difference between a life of what if and a life of, okay, what's next?
And for Tunde, this wasn't just a one-off bad day. No way. This was a pattern that followed him his whole life. I mean, back in secondary school, he literally tore up the form to run for class captain because he was afraid he might lose. Then, in university, he tried a public speaking club for one day, felt that fear of being seen, and man, don't we all know that feeling, and he never went back. And then, after graduation, a real job opportunity comes along with his friend, and he walks away because he just didn't feel ready. Each no was just another brick in the wall he was building around himself.
And that right there, that's the silent cost we're talking about, isn't it? From the outside, Tunde probably looked fine. He wasn't making any big, spectacular mistakes, but on the inside, the price was huge. Sure, he wasn't failing, but he wasn't growing either. He was just existing. Kind of like being a spectator at your own life.
So you have to wonder, how does a cycle like that ever get broken? Well, it happens when Tunde's cozy little world of avoidance gets slammed head-on by a real opportunity. It all came down to a single phone call that became the turning point for, well, everything.
So Sadiq calls him up. He's got this incredible opportunity, a management role, and he's already put Tunde's name forward for it. This is a huge chance. And what's Tunde's immediate gut reaction? That old familiar phrase, "I don't know if I am ready." Oh man, if that's not the official anthem of the avoidant mindset, I don't know what is. But this time, Sadiq isn't letting him off the hook. He says something that is, I think, the most powerful lesson in this entire story. He says, readiness does not come before action, it comes after. Just let that sink in for a minute. We think we have to feel ready before we do something. Sadiq is saying that's completely backwards. Action is what creates the readiness. It's what builds the skill and the confidence we were waiting for all along.
And he doesn't stop there. He hits him with this stark, simple truth. If you keep waiting, you will keep missing. And just like that, waiting is no longer a safe strategy. It's a guaranteed way to keep losing opportunities. And you can just imagine Tunde that night, right? Replaying every missed chance, every single maybe later. And it finally clicks. It hits him like a ton of bricks. His life wasn't a story of bad luck. His story was shaped, choice, by his own avoidance.
Okay, so Tunde has his massive breakthrough. What does that mean for us? How do we actually take this lesson and apply it? Well, it all starts by totally reframing how we look at fear. Think about it like this. Most of us treat fear like a giant red stop sign. It screams, turn back, danger ahead. But what if we started treating it like a compass? That nervous feeling in your gut, that anxiety, that's not a warning to stop. That's the compass needle, and it's pointing you directly towards the exact thing you need to do next to grow. So how do you follow that compass? You don't have to make some giant, terrifying leap. Courage is a muscle, and you build it with small reps. So try one of these. Next meeting, just share one idea. That's it. Or hit send on that one email you've been overthinking for days.
Ask the so-called dumb question that, let's be honest, everyone else is probably wondering too. Or, and this is a big one, share your work when it's just 90% ready instead of waiting for a mythical 100%. These are small, totally manageable acts of bravery.
Because here's the secret nobody tells you about confidence. It's not the thing you have before you act. It's the thing you get after you act, especially after you mess up, learn something, and decide to try again. Real unshakable confidence is actually built on a foundation of embracing failure. So we've walked through Tunde's whole journey. We've seen him go from avoidance to taking action. We've broken down the mindset and the practical steps. So now, the focus is entirely on you. It's your turn to decide what the next chapter of your story is going to look like. And let's land on Tunde's final, powerful realization. He finally understood that all those years of playing it safe, they weren't free. The cost was invisible, but it was massive. Lost time, lost growth, and a life that was a little smaller than it could have been. The silent cost of safety was so much higher than the loud, temporary pain of any one failure.
So I'm going to leave you with a direct challenge. As soon as this is over, I want you to actually do this. Write down 3 risks, big or small, that you know you're avoiding right now. And as you write them, just notice that little knot of discomfort in your stomach. Remember, that's not a stop sign. That's your compass. It's pointing the way.
Because in the end, courage is not about being fearless. Nobody is. Courage is feeling the fear, looking it right in the eye, and refusing to let it make your decisions for you. It's saying, you don't get to decide my future. The greatest risk is standing still. So, what's your first step forward going to be?